Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming, guys. So I'm Hannah Wilkinson. And
I'm Connor Wells.
I'm Elias Costello.
all right. So we're going to go over the importance of having a professional portfolio. And then we're going to go through like getting started, like what you need to download and everything. And then we'll go over the other meetings we're going to be having. And then conclusion, questions. If you're lost with stuff, we'll help you with that. Don't worry. And then if you can scan the attendance thing.
Yep.
Please.
You're just going to spell out your name and email, it'll be fine.
Should we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you throw me my phone? Thanks.
Yep.
Everyone good? All right, so let's go over the importance of having a professional portfolio. So first off, you want to stand out from other people. That's really important in such a competitive workplace. So having this will definitely put you apart from other people. And we're going to go through how to add a URL to your LinkedIn, which is also something that's really cool. So employers, when they look at your LinkedIn, they can see your professional portfolio. And then we'll add it to your resume, all that. And you'll have a lot of experience with creating the website, hosting a website, and then registering a domain, which we're going to go through how to do all that basics.
All right, so getting started, here are a list of the programs that you guys should have installed for coming next meeting. So we're going to need a text editor. Best ones are Notepad++ or Sublime Text. Essentially, they will give you the I want to say the syntax, they'll color the syntax of things, so it's a lot easier to be able to code. You'll be able to break down your code a lot easier. And we're going to be showing you guys how these work and what I'm talking about when I talk about syntax and the color coding that it uses. So there's the links to Notepad++ and Sublime Text. They're both the download pages. They'll link right to it. If you do have a Mac, the Sublime Text is probably your best bet because Notepad++, I believe, doesn't have a Mac version, but I could be wrong with that. But Sublime Text works for either or. I'd recommend that one as well. And then, so getting into the things with actual portfolio template, we're going to be using HTML and CSS free templates at TemplateMo. And you can also see free-CSS. And we're going to go to one of those pages.
Was it this one?
Yeah. So we essentially don't have enough time in the semester to be able to code out a full web page like this. But the best thing to do is use one of these portfolio templates that are already built. I know one of them we had up. Do you want to show? It was this one. Yep. So this is one Hannah was working on. As you can see, this is what this template looks like. It looks just like a normal portfolio. And we're going to be going over how in the next session, how we can edit all of this, the picture, all the text, the links to redirect to the right pages, to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and able to change, obviously, the text and headers here. So do you want to show what you did?
Yeah.
And this was just over the night, right?
Yeah, I kind of threw it together last night. So everything is definitely not great, but I just threw in my experience. So that's what I would put on mine. So.
Yeah, and we'll be helping you guys with this. And with a lot of the workshops is we'll be going through, what, how to essentially get the resources to be able to code HTML and CSS. It's really really easy with HTML. It kind of like explains it right in front of you, like when you're looking at the code. It's really easy to change the text and images, but we'll also be going over those main components and then also giving you guys resources if you want to work outside of the workshops. So a lot of the workshops will probably be doing like some explanation for half the time, and then the other half the time we'll be going around and helping you guys fill out these portfolio templates and create them.
Or do you want me to show the Sublime text?
Yeah.
I'll show that.
So
Yeah, this is what Sublime looks like.
Yeah, and as you can see, this is the one that you're working on right now. So we can show you a brief demonstration of really how easy it is to change it. So if you want to go all the way to the top, and
Like,
let's go.
My title, I put my name and like stuff like that.
So like the title, and we'll go over this again, of the web page is the title at the top of the web page that you see. And let's go to the nav bar if you want to scroll down right here. So change the first one and just change it to about. We can just save that. We'll go over essentially what kind of each of these things do. Like LI stands for list. So once you refreshes this, it will change to about, as you can see. So it's actually fairly simple. And then we'll also talk about images and sizing with images. But that's just like a quick demonstration of really how easy it is to change a lot of these templates. So I'd say the next sessions are pretty straightforward. And then we'll talk about what we're going to be doing for the meeting structures for their next two topics. But we can go on to. And then here we have FileZilla. So FileZilla is essentially a program that utilizes the FTP protocol, and you don't need to know what FTP protocol really is. It just stands for File Transfer Protocol. And this is how we're going to get our template files that we're going to be editing onto a server. Because for a website, you need to be hosting it onto a server that people are going to be able to publicly access it to. And again, we'll get more into this when we get into our server topics. And then PuTTY is how we're going to be connecting to the server and how we can essentially edit our server and set up our web server. And again, if you're confused about it anytime now, we're like in the next sessions, we're going to go more deeper into it and explain exactly how everything is. And we'll walk you guys through everything to be able to get it all set up. And then here's the MISA Club website. And I built this website using a just simple bootstrap template and the methods that we're going to be using throughout these sessions. So you guys are going to be able to go to this website, www.misa.club. And as you can see, just scroll down a little bit. There's our website session information. So we're going to be able to find all the recorded sessions and program installations. So just want to click on that. So let's say you missed a meeting. No, So let's say you missed a meeting and you weren't able to come. We're going to have it all recorded, and I'll say when the next meeting is. So the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, October 26th, same time and everything. Let's scroll down real quick. So here's this session one. As you can see, here's a list of programs to install before next meeting. So I also have the program listed here. If you can click on those two. They don't really look hyperlinked, but they are. So yeah. So they'll also take you straight to all the programs. And then we also have the PowerPoint. So if you need to go and look at the PowerPoint, and then as soon, obviously the session hasn't been recorded yet because we're in it. This will be posted on tonight. So people, if you know people that were going to come, or you want to look at the recorded session again, be able to come to this webpage and look at it again. But we'll have those all there. So if you miss something during the session or miss a session, you'll be able to overlook at it again.
All right, so our session structure. So our next meeting is going to be a lot with the HTML and CSS. So kind of what we were showing with the Sublime text editor. So we're going to dive deep into that, show you guys how to do that, change title, change tags, change headings, all that. And then we're going to just design our portfolio.
Yeah. And so then the future meetings, this is where we get into hosting our portfolio / website, and then also registering the domain and SSL certificates. And I'll go over right after this, we'll go back to our webpage and I'll show you what SSL certificate is. But so on November 2nd, we'll be building and creating our web server using AWS and Apache 2. Are you guys familiar with AWS, or do you know? Okay, so Amazon, they have their own cloud servers, and that's what we're going to be using. They're free, which is really nice. Since we're not going to have a lot of traffic coming to these servers, we're able to use the free tier, which they don't have, crazy hardware on them. So it doesn't matter because only probably 1 or 2 people are going to be on your site at a time. So nothing obviously would crash. And what Apache 2 is essentially the program we're going to be installing onto these AWS servers that run the web server. And if, we're going to definitely get more into that and show you guys exactly step by step how to set this up. It does get a little technical, but we'll be here throughout the whole time to be able to set that up. And it's definitely going to be really good to have these described on your resume. A lot of jobs would be impressed that you're able to set up a web server on your own using AWS, and a lot of jobs are going to Amazon Web Services. I had a meeting a few weeks ago. It was like one of those coffee talks with the FBI, and they were saying that they're moving all their servers to AWS. So a lot of companies, even governments, moving there. So having experience in that is going to be a really big help for you guys landing jobs. And then on the 9th, we're going to be connecting to our web server, and that's when we'll be hosting our website and portfolio files. So yeah, that first meeting there on the 2nd will be just building and creating our web server and getting it deployed. And then the second meeting for that topic will be connecting to it with Putty that I explained in the previous slide, and how we're going to be using FileZilla, the other program, to be able to drag our files from our desktop or our laptops onto our server so people can publicly access your portfolio. And then after that is the final topic, and that will be registering the domain and pointing it to our web server. So if you're not familiar with like a domain name is, google.com, amazon.com. If you don't have a domain name, essentially what people would have to type in is an IP address, and you don't want people typing in 3.192. They're not going to remember that. And also it's for safety too, because you want to mask out that IP. So we'll be able to have like a domain like yourname.com. Now for this one, I do want to preference that domains do cost. They're about like $7 or $10. I would say like $10 for a .com domain. Actually, there's also some name services, domain services that let you buy your first domain for 99 cents. So there's also free ones, but I definitely suggest getting like a .com or .net just because it looks a lot more professional to employers. And if you can't really pay it, we can work something out, but it's, we'll be able to get you like a cheap domain name. And then on November 30th, we'll be setting up the SSL certificate for our domain web server. So it's probably better to show you what an SSL certificate is. So if you want to go to the MISA Club website.
Where was it?
So it's at the top left. See the little lock there on the URL? Yep. So essentially it's saying the connection is secure. So if you want to click on the certificate, so a lot of websites will have that little lock that you see it on the URL. And essentially what it's saying is that our site is certified and is a secure site, and it is what it is. It's a legit site. Have you guys ever went to a website and it says like Google Chrome, like the connection's not secure and you can like continue anyways? That means they don't have an SSL certificate applied onto their web server. So this is important because let's say we have, a company like Deloitte or, that works with government, and they probably have some sort of like filters onto their network that don't allow people to go to sites that are not secure. So we don't want that to block the portfolio and potentially turn away an employer. But it's also really good practice to have your site certified, and it's really good knowledge to have. And another thing we can put on your resume. So you get it certified for a year, and then you just have to renew it. But we can go over that too as well. It's not hard. And as you can see, it says issued to www.misa.club. And yeah, so that's what an SSL certificate is.
Yeah. And then December 7th, we'll conclude this workshop. We'll go over like finalizing like everything. If you had any questions, any last minute edits, just to make it look pretty and everything. And then, yeah, we'll help you guys finish it up.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, so the next meeting action items are download and select the website template before the next meeting. So go and browse those two sites that I provided. If you find another website that you want, just, you can bring it in, we'll take a look at it. And then all the software below, FileZilla, Putty. But the main ones definitely are either Notepad+ or Sublime, because we're not going to be using these next meeting. But it is good just to have it for the future so you don't forget about it. But definitely get those downloaded. Actually, while we're here, do we want to show them how to like what it looks like when we're downloading the website template, just so they know?
Yeah. Are you talking about like these?
So go to one of those. So let's say this, you guys, you're browsing your phone, whatever.
So
You're looking for a portfolio. Yep, just click on this one. As you see, there's going to be an ad coming up. Just close it.
And you can see a little preview. I think it's
Yeah, you can do a live view. So if it's something like the pictures might not do it fully justice and you just kind of want to see more of it, you can open a live view of it and it'll show what the template looks like. So you can check it there. And then you just click that blue download button and it'll download a zip file. And what you want to do with this file is you want to extract it to your desktop.
I'm gonna have to rename that.
Again, this is recorded, so if you miss this step, you'll be able to check back on it. So I believe it extracted to your downloads. Go back to your downloads real quick. Yeah, right there. So now it won't have that little zip icon on the folder, or it won't say .zip, and now it's just a normal folder. It's extracted. So here is what the website files look like, and that's when like you're good. And then we'll talk more about these next meeting. But essentially, if you just click on that HTML file here, I wonder if it loaded up already.
I probably didn't finish downloading. It's my computer's so slow.
Go to your Chrome. Maybe it's opening it up without it. Yeah, I think it opened up. Yeah. So as you can see at the top, see how it has that path of or C drive users Hannah downloads. Like that's where we saved it to, right? So obviously no one can access this right now because it's only on her local machine. That's what we're going to be changing it when we're uploading these files to the web server and registering a domain so people can get to a site to your portfolio. But right now it's just locally, and for the next sessions, we're just going to be editing it and you're only going to be able to see it on your machine. So it's really that easy to get it up there. And then we'll be going in more depth of what each file that we just downloaded, what they do and how to edit them to be able to get your portfolio the way you want it.
Is there anything else you want to show here?
So a lot of these, so once you download, let's say you download from another site, some of these files might have different names. They usually all will say index.html, but some might have a CSS folder here. So if you go into assets, you'll see there. And we'll get more into this. We're actually probably not really going to touch these a lot. The only reason we touch these is just to change the color of things on our webpage, because these are pretty sensitive. If you do change some of the code in this, it will it could distort some of the web page, like where like the navigation bar could start getting messed up, or different sections will start getting messed up. So most likely we're only going to be using this for changing the color. But yeah, so it's going to be fairly simple. I would say the most technical part is when we're going to get into the server stuff. But again, we're going to be going step by step, and we're going to be helping you guys throughout the sessions. And if you guys ever need to contact us outside of the workshop hours, you can hop on a Zoom. So, but we'll get into that in this next slides.
Oh, are you done with this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and just to conclude, so we're gonna obviously help you guys build a professional website portfolio. So we're gonna go through everything, basics. And so by doing that, like you'll allow potential employers to see you on your resume. You can link it to on your resume. So you can just have your resume. What I did, I'll show you what I did. That might be easier. So like I added my actual like resume on the website. So like you can link your resume on the website, and then on your resume you can link your website on there too. So like just a lot of back and forth. And then let's go back. And yeah, and then you can just showcase all your technical skills, which will be great.
Yeah, I'm say a few things about it. So even if like you might be thinking like, with the portfolio, you might not necessarily need it. I mean, I'm sure you guys came here today, obviously, because you're going to want one. But a big thing about this too is getting the skills and knowing how web servers and websites are created. Again, like when you're talking to an employer in an interview and you say these certain programs that you use, like FileZilla or Apache 2, Putty, you use AWS cloud servers, they'll be like really impressed. Not a lot of students do that. So that's also a really big thing to come out of this, even if you don't use your portfolio as much. But I know some of you, like said, you're freshmen, sophomores, even junior, like your 450 projects, you'll be able to throw these on to the website and an employer will be able to actually see it, a lot more. Like you can only put so much on your resume, right? Like you can put, I worked on the back-end development for an MVC application. Well, on the website, you'll actually show them, maybe a link to that MVC application if you host it like publicly, or you can show them the code, like the actual code of it. So there's a lot of things like throughout the years, like being at the university, that you can put on to your portfolio. Any projects that you do outside of class, or even projects that you do for class. I know I have some stuff on my resume that I did that I'm doing in my MIST 4-level classes that, that I'm going to be having on my portfolio. So it's definitely all around just good knowledge to have. Besides just the portfolio itself, you'll be able to showcase these skills, coming out of college too. So it's really good.
Yeah, if you have like photos you want to showcase, or graphics, any of that stuff, that's great as well. So do you guys have any questions at all at the moment? I know it's kind of overwhelming right now. We're gonna dive into everything, but does anybody have any questions at the moment?
So like at a company like Wix that you can go in and it already has like kind of pre-planned for you. What's the difference between like doing that and doing this?
So like it's a lot more Wix, I feel like, is more user friendly, and it's like definitely a lot easier to use. But like if you actually have the technical skills, like I personally prefer to go in through the code and do it like that. But I don't know, like I think that it's just definitely
going on like what you said at like the end there is knowing how websites work and how they actually work, and you're saying with like Wix being user friendly, is if you say to an employer like, yeah, I used Wix to like build my website, right? Well, they know that a lot of that's just kind of like dragging and dropping onto a site that's already defined for you as well. This is more of like seeing the actual process from like what Wix doesn't show you, the actual code, as well as setting up a web server, which is like a really big thing. And if you're an MIS major, and if you're managing developers, and let's say maybe you have, and this goes with all code too, like for any development team that you're going to be managing, because you're going to be talking to clients and you're going to be talking to a development team, you're the man in the middle there. You want to know essentially what the development team's looking at. So let's say, I know like with Deloitte and a lot of those consulting firms, like companies do come to them for websites, updated websites, newer websites and whatnot. And if you're managing that and you're consulting for them, you want to be talking to your developers and knowing the code that they're looking at and knowing how the servers function and everything. So that's like a big difference between this and Wix, because I wouldn't like, not saying like I wouldn't advise putting like on your resume like I created a website in Wix, you know what I mean? Like you could say I created my own web server, hosted it on AWS, and I was developing code and looking at code. So that's like the major difference between this and Wix. But yeah, that's a good question.
this is kind of like off topic, like completely, but like, what's the well, like, or MIS? How different is MIS from like business data analytics? Like, it's two completely different things.
You want to talk?
Personally, I don't know enough to answer that question,
Okay.
because I don't.
So,
just like
data analytics gets more into like, it's like one pathway where you're looking at like, you'll be working for companies. So there's also like the consultants that work just with data, and you might be looking at like, let's say a company comes in and says like, you know, I need to see like how much like traffic I'm getting, or you want to look at their data in the sense of like their products, whatever they have, and see like what people are looking at. I feel like MIS is more of like a broad, I would say MIS is like a broad scope of things. And then they have like very like subclasses to MIS that
I
you
feel
can
like
go
they
into.
do like technical solutions more so. And
Yeah.
also like compared to like just like analyzing information, if that makes sense.
Are you familiar with our studio in Tableau?
No, not at all.
I've had a few data analytics classes, and that's what they primarily use. I didn't find that personally fulfilling. With MIS, we have like security, we have analytics, and maybe that's what the difference is. I think MIS is probably more of a stronger bag.
Yeah, because like you were saying, security, networking, you know, we're going over a lot of that. We're essentially touching like with this website portfolio is like, we're touching some of like the networking with the cloud servers, some of the development with the coding that we'll be looking at. And even with like the SSL certificate, we'll get like a little bit to security. Same with the cloud servers as well. We're going to be looking at certain you only want a few ports open, because if you have and this gets into our datacom and cybersecurity classes, but I'll explain that to you guys when we get to servers, is why you only want certain ports open, because other people could connect to those ports if that port's open and no one's using it. So I'll get into that, but that's the thing about this is we're going to be, and another reason that you could put on your resume is like working with AWS, you know, made sure that your website was secure and everything. So we're going to be touching a lot of those topics, and that's kind of like what MIS is in a whole. That's like data analytics is like one path in MIS. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if it is a Wix website, just to clarify on that point, it is more expensive. And if it is Wix website, they can tell it's a Wix website just by looking at it. And I think most people who do make their HTML projects and make their own websites, usually they don't start from the ground up. Usually they do use a template, is what I found through at least my personal experience.
So they use Bootstrap templates, which most of these templates are. Bootstrap was, we're actually going over in this one of our classes, I think 353. Are you in, right?
Yeah.
We were just talking about that today, right? So this goes hand in hand with that, and that's going to help. You know, that is Bootstrap was like developed by Twitter a while ago, and I think 2011. I think it said 2012 or something.
Yeah, it was like 2012.
Yeah. So a lot of websites are built off of that template. And that's essentially like, even companies nowadays use those Bootstrap templates from the thing. So you wouldn't necessarily see someone create a website from like no HTML in it at all and no CSS. And then just like in a week, they have a full website created. And obviously we can't, you know, teach everything in that full time. There's still stuff that I don't know with website design and everything. But I do know how to alter those templates and get the web server set up and making it as professional looking as possible for you guys and getting that knowledge. So that's what we're doing.
If you guys want to contact us at all, this is our contact information too.
Yeah. And I encourage it. If you guys, like I said, if you miss a session, or let's say after the next session's workshop, you know, you get something stuck with the HTML or CSS, like you can text me or just email me. We could set up like a meeting. Like I really don't mind. We'll figure something out, because, you know, I want to help you guys get this, you know, portfolio. Same with Hannah and everything. So definitely encourage you guys to do that.
Do you want to go into like, because I mean, we still have like 30 minutes. Do you want to go into, or do you?
I'm gonna do the whole thing, but it's up to you. Do what were you saying?
Was there anything else you wanted to go into with the subline
I'll
or
just,
anything?
you know what, real quick, I won't hold you guys too long. I know we're still scheduled for a little bit, but I'll show you guys, because I keep saying AWS and it's gonna be a big thing of this. I'll log on to my AWS here and show you
It's gonna be so slow. I'm sorry.
what this looks like now. Okay. I'll just go to here and let's see. My God, you went wrong. Sign in here.
Oh, and another thing, like, so I work for the rec center, so, and I'm a web manager, so I do like a lot of their website stuff. And a lot of that we utilize HTML and CSS with that. So like, that's also like just good to know. It's just good experience to have in general. Just put that out there. Not Wix.
Yeah, a lot of companies, they might not use, I don't understand how it's wrong. They'll probably have their own, like what we're doing now, like source files that obviously if you ever go down the web designer path, or even if you're managing web servers or managing websites as an MIS student after graduating, you'll definitely want to know what the code looks like at least. You might not be writing it like crazy, but you might need to know how to change stuff. So we're going to be using these. So launch a virtual machine with EC2. As you see, it only takes 2 to 3 minutes. Let me find my instances, which are right here. As you can see, AWS has a lot of cloud programs that they have, cloud servers that they have. So as you can see, I have 2 instances running. So here's the MISA website that you guys see here. This is running on this cloud server, and it's if I go back here to this instances, t2.micro, meaning that's the free tier. So technically, I probably shouldn't be showing. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have any passwords.
Don't steal his IP address.
Well, we're gonna start getting into the private keys and how you can access your server. So as you see, I grabbed that public IP, and it still goes to the same website, right? But we want to make sure that it's masked with our domain. As you can see, this one, I don't have it set up with a certificate because it doesn't really need to be. So this is kind of what the panel looks like. This is what they call a CRM, I guess you would say. So this just has like all the information about the instance running. And when I say instance, it's just meaning server. And then the details. So this key pair name is you only get one time. So when you launch up an instance, you only get this key pair one time, and it's going to be saved onto your computer. And this is what you use to access the server, and that's how we're going to be installing the web server on it and hosting your website files. But again, I'm going to reiterate all this when we get to this in AWS, and make sure you guys save this in a good spot. Because if you lose that, you're not going to be able to connect. It's just their way of doing security, which is really nice. As you can see, the details here. So we're using Linux operating system. So if you're familiar, like Windows, Linux, and Mac are all different operating systems. And under Linux, the platform we're going to be using is Ubuntu. And again, I'm going to get all into this stuff when we get there. Security, just like I was saying, you only want certain ports open. So the port range 80, this is the HTTP port, and then 443 is HTTPS, so the secure port. I can honestly probably close this port now that I have the certificate. So I'll probably do that when I get home. But some of these ports, like I believe 22 is SSH, and that's how you connect into the web server. And 20 and 21 is that file, the FTP protocol I was talking about, FileZilla. I know I'm blabbering a lot, but you guys will eventually get it when I show you later on. And then this just has like more of the networking stuff. I know a lot of it looks confusing, but we'll go through most of it. Some of this stuff I'm not even always 100% sure about yet. But yeah, so we'll go through this and walk you guys step by step, and it's fairly easy once you go through it a few times. But yeah, that's what AWS looks like, and this is what your server looks like. If I had my computer here, I'd be able to log in and show you guys like what the web server looks like and all the files. And probably when we get into those topics, I'll do that just to show you guys and give you examples. But for now, this is what AWS looks like. So if you want to go ahead and, take a look at that too when you get home, that'll be really cool to get some basic knowledge of before we get there, but not needed. We'll go over that.
All right.
That's it though.
So
Yeah.
that's the introduction.